I'm sure most of you know Tommy Thompson. If there's anybody in this room that does not know Tommy Thompson, please raise your hand. Have you heard of Tommy Thompson? Everybody has. But just a brief little who he is. Of course, he started out in Elroy, and of course I worked for the Chamber in Sparta, and I always wanted the Elroy-Sparta bike trail to be called Sparta-Elroy Trail instead of the Elroy-Sparta Trail. But as long as he was governor, he said it was going to remain Elroy-Sparta. So I still haven't convinced the new governor to change it, so I guess we'll have to go with that. So he was in the legislature for quite a few years, and then he ran for governor. He was governor from 1987 to 2001. He made state history when he was re-elected to office for a third term in '94 and a fourth term in '98. He served as HHS Secretary from 2001 to 2005 and is one of the nation's leading advocates for the health and welfare of all Americans. He is the 19th individual that served as secretary of that department, which employed over 60,000 personnel and had a fiscal year budget of $584 billion. So during his 14 years as governor, Thompson focused on revitalizing Wisconsin economy. He also gained national attention for his leadership on welfare reform, expanded access to health care for low-income people and education. And he actually, when he first got into office, created the Governor's Council on Tourism. He put an emergency $2 million into the tourism budget, which started them off to what they're doing now. So with that, I'd like to welcome Governor Tommy Thompson.
Thanks, Sharon. I know one thing. You got a great leader in Sharon Folsom. You know, I'm delighted to be back home. I love this area and I love the people. And always remember, no matter what happens, you got something to sell in this area. We got the nicest people, prettiest women, strongest men, and you look around this area, you got the Mississippi River over there. I used to brag, you know, about the fact, you know, that Wisconsin was an island. We got Lake Superior up north, we got the Mississippi River running down the western side, and we got Lake Michigan on our east side. And then Illinois is always floating, so that's the island. So, you know, that makes things happen. And we got to be proud of what we do. You know, we got a great state. And I want to talk, you know, today about, you know, some things. I didn't prepare anything because I wanted to talk from my heart about what's going on in our government, what needs to be done at the federal level, in order for all of us to be able to be prosperous, what needs to be done at the state level, and then I'm going to end up and talk about what needs to be done with this group. How many counties are represented? Is Juneau County here? Monroe County I know is here. What about Adams, Vernon? Vernon, is La Crosse County here?
La Crosse County.
Oh, I love all of you. Any other counties here? Jackson? Triplo? Well, that's great. We got the, what?
Dane County.
Dane County, well. As Lee Sherman Draven says, Madison is a 30-mile island surrounded by reality. And I see Bill Jordahl over here who worked for me. I'm very happy. Senator Brian Root. Did Senator Root talk to you today?
Yeah.
He's a great American. He does well, and I know that, how many mayors we got? We got several mayors here, I know. From where, Toma? Toma, who else?
Some former mayors.
Former mayor, who's the former mayor? We got how many county board members here? I saw a lot of those individuals. I was a county board member too. My father died and they were kind enough to allow me to fill out my father's term. Then I ran for office as a county board member and got elected, and it was a wonderful experience. So let me thank all of the elected officials, because it is tough. It is tough to be an elected official today because nobody really wants to get along. You notice that? And it's about time we start getting along. I am so sick and tired of listening to everybody tear things down. I want to build. I want our state to be the best. I want our country to be the best. I want Monroe County to be the greatest it can be, just not quite as good as Juneau County. I want all of you to be the best that you possibly can be. You know, when I ran for governor, people didn't give me a chance at all. They said, Tommy Thompson from where? Tommy Thompson from Elroy. Where the hell's that? I said, well, Elroy, you know, is right between Kendall and Union Center, east of Boston and south of Hustler. And then everybody sort of started laughing. But now says Elroy is so small you can call somebody, get a wrong number, and still talk for a half an hour. Now that's my hometown, and I loved every bit of it. I loved every person there, just like you do. And we have to take pride in our communities. We have to take pride in our counties. We have to take pride in our region, and that's what I want to talk about. Because when I was over as governor, I got elected. The reason one of the reasons I got elected, not the only reason, one of the reasons I got elected is I was campaigning hard, and Darwin Smith, I don't know if any of you individuals remember Darwin Smith. I know Brian Rude does. He was the CEO of Kimberly-Clark. And he got up and he said, state government is so bad, their regulations are so bad, their taxes are so bad, he said, I can't afford to do business here. And Kimberly-Clark was started in Wisconsin. And they moved down to Texas. And then the people from Illinois started getting smart. They thought, you know, Wisconsin was weak. So they put up a big sign. I don't know if anybody remembers this sign that said, you know, when the taxes get too high in Wisconsin, please bring your business to Illinois. Okay? Then they put up one as I was running that said, when the last company leaves Wisconsin, please turn off the lights. Everybody got mad. I mean, it was really a downer. People said, why would we, you know, people were really upset. And so they said, we got to make a change. We're even going to be so radical, we're going to elect a Republican. And that Republican is going to be Tommy Thompson. And I came in and I decided that I looked at the situation, looked over, found out that the state was considered the highest tax state, one of the highest tax, overly regulated. We cut taxes 91 times while I was governor. Brian Rude was there, Dan Kapanke, I see was here. Thank you for coming down, Senator. And we cut taxes 91 times. And people started responding. I went out, every time I saw a business that was thinking about moving or expanding, I didn't care where it was. I get on the telephone and ask if I could come and visit them. And don't overlook, in your Economic Development Council, it's the opportunity to go and talk to people. People like to be asked. And I found out I'd have to go into business. If I found out they were in Illinois and they were looking about changing, I would fly down there, drive down there, talk to them, and say, come to Wisconsin, give us a chance. And you know something? People responded. And I also put up, I wanted to get even with Illinois too, so I put up a big sign because Jim Thompson was the governor of Illinois at that time, and he had a cottage over in Montello Lake that he kept up every weekend, and I knew the road he went back to Illinois, so I put up a big sign so he'd see it every time he went. It says, Governor Thompson wants you to bring your business to Wisconsin. And then for the next month, you know, everybody from Illinois was calling and saying, why do you want us to take our business to Wisconsin? He says, no, not me. It's that crazy Thompson up in Wisconsin. It was an attitude that we were moving forward. We were so good that we went to the Rose Bowl 3 times and won. Won 3 times in the Rose Bowl, won the Super Bowl. People were excited about Wisconsin. We created 740,000 jobs while I was governor during my term. The most that's ever been created in the state of Wisconsin in history. Our unemployment, ladies and gentlemen, was below 2.5% for 42 consecutive months, the lowest in the country. We created 88,000 manufacturing jobs when the rest of the country lost 375,000. We did it, ladies and gentlemen, not me, it was us. And then I went up to talk to some people, and they said, you know what we really need to do? Never overlook the opportunity to talk to people and find out what they need. I went all over the state, and they said, you know, our transportation system is bad. And so we started 2020, Highways 2020. You know, it used to be called in Wisconsin, there were 2 seasons, winter time and highway construction time. But we built the highways, the infrastructure, so Wisconsin could grow. And then, I think we got the most beautiful state in America, bar none. I'd put us up against anybody. And so I did is I took all the various parts and I set up a Department of Tourism because I wanted a department, yes, clap, I wanted a Department of Tourism. I wanted a department to brag about Wisconsin. And I remember Governor Carlson bragging about 10,000 lakes in Minnesota, so I got up and said, yeah, he's got 10,000 lakes. But we have 15,000 lakes and we have fish in ours. And I wanted a department to do what was necessary to move forward. Then I sat down with the County Boards Association. And they said, you know, what is wrong is that we have everything at the Madison or Milwaukee. We've got a lot of things out here in rural areas that we got a lot to do. So we set up the regional, the counties and the regionals with the counties in 1992. And we set up the GYM program, started matching funds. So that people in organizations in Ashland County, La Crosse County, Monroe County could start having some money come in that they could advertise. And so they could talk about the region and talk about the wonderful things we have. I'm going to finish up with this at the end. And so, ladies and gentlemen, we turned Wisconsin around. We made Wisconsin the star of the snow belt. And everybody started feeling good, and people then started responding. They started bragging about their communities, bragging about their counties, and bragging about their businesses. And we started getting them to expand in Wisconsin. And that's what is called economic development. Now, what's happening in our country? You know, why am I running for U.S. Senate? I'm 70 years old. I don't need this job. I'm worried about our country. I'm worried about the fact, you know, that nothing gets done. Evidenced by the fact, you know, the federal government hasn't passed the budget in 1,030 days. That's 3 years. They've spent $9.5 trillion. Do you know of any other entity? Some of you are on the school board, some of you are on the county board, some of you are on the city council. Some of you are in economic development. Every single year you pass a budget, don't you? Do you know of any county that doesn't pass a budget? Do you know any business that doesn't pass a budget? Only one is the federal government. 1,030 days. I decided, you know, if they don't introduce a budget by April 18th, the majority leader should have his money taken away, whoever he is or she is. If you don't pass it, the budget committee should have their money taken away. And then I filled up for gas coming up here. How are we going to get people from Illinois to come up here and see the beauty of our area at $5 a gallon gas? It's not there yet, but that's the way it's going. And I thought to myself, what's wrong with the Keystone Pipeline? 20,000 jobs right now, 100,000? They said, well, environmentally, there's going to be a lot of pipes in the ground. Have you ever taken a look at the map of Wisconsin or Nebraska or North Dakota? It looks like a spider web. You can't go 1 square mile without digging in the ground and hitting a pipe. And yet they say we can't do it because of too many pipes in the ground. In Canada wants to sell their gas and oil to the United States. And we said no. So they said, okay, we'll sell it to the Chinese. Does that make any sense at all to anybody? I don't care what your political philosophy is. Why would you do that? You know something we always promised, ladies and gentlemen? We promised our children and grandchildren that we're going to leave them a country better off, more financially secure, stronger, with more options and opportunities than we had. I'm fearful that right now we can't make that promise anymore. We have individuals on both sides, you know, that would rather fight than build. And I think it's about time that we send some builders. Somebody who wants to get the job done and make things happen. State level. State level. Well, we get these recalls over. And I abhor recalls, whether they come from Republicans or Democrats. They tear away the city, they tear away the counties, they tear away families, they make everybody mad. How do you get anything done when everybody's mad all the time? Let's get the recalls behind us, and let's say in this state we're not going to have recalls anymore unless somebody commits a crime. Let's get behind it. And then let's get back to the business of telling people in this country about Wisconsin. And let's open up mining. Do you know that the miners came to Wisconsin in 1836? 1836, they came over. They were called the Cornish miners from Wales, England. They went down the lead mine, Mineral Point, and started in 1836, start mining. First major industry, first major settlers to our great state were miners in 1836. And they were so eager to mine that they dug burrows into the hillside and lived there. And they were called badgers, like the animals. And I bet everybody in this room thought Wisconsin was named after the animal badgers. They weren't. We're badgers because of mining, because of the miners living in the hillside. That's where they got the name badgers. And if you look at our animal, our badger, if you look at our flag, one of the 4 quadrants on our flag, the Wisconsin flag, is a mine. So we've always been a mining state. Now, I was the governor when we opened up the mine and closed it in Ladysmith. copper and gold mine. Created jobs and opportunity, and we reclaimed the land. We did it in an environmentally safe way. And that's important because we are environmentalists from Wisconsin. We love the outdoors, we love the green, we love the beauty, and we don't want to despoil it. But we can mine in an environmentally safe, secure way. We closed that mine up at Ladysmith. Now there are 10 miles of hiking trails. There's 6 acres of brand new wetlands. And during the time it was mining, they came in with a photo shoot of a bear, a black bear, ladies and gentlemen, that came out of the hills, went over to the pipe of the water coming out of the mine. The bear took a drink of that. Then he went down to the Flambeau River, took a drink out of that, and he turned around and went back to the pipe. The water was cleaner and better than the water in the Flambeau River. Tourism is up in Ladysmith to see the mine. So don't tell me you can't do it, because I did it, and we did it. Now, economic development at the local level. I think you people are fantastic. But what we have to do is we have to get out there and start selling. First thing we got to do is take an inventory of our area. Monroe, Juneau, La Crosse, Trempealeau. It's a beautiful area. I get some people to come down and start doing some TV programs. I don't know if the Roses still do those programs, but I'd have the Roses come down and do a program on every one of our counties. Every one of our counties here, talk to the civic leaders, talk to the farmers, talk to the economic developers, and say, you know, I helped get Mark Rose started, so tell him he owes me a favor. You want to get him down here?
We're here.
Do it right. And talk about this particular area. Secondly, where is there any better place than a military base than Fort McCoy in Camp Williams? That is a diamond, ladies and gentlemen, and we have never really sold it. And I don't think, you know, we've done enough in Washington to bring this stuff home for Fort McCoy. If I do go out there, I can assure you, Fort McCoy is going to get my full attention. And so is Fort Field. We are going to. Ray Bolin was the commander there. He knows that area. He's out there speaking about it all the time. What other area's got a military base with all the attributes? And people come up here and know Fort McCoy because they hunt on it, fish on it. Let's make it a center. And then let's go up and start talking to some of the great hospitals we have in this area. We have some of the best medical care. Let's brag about it. You know, people are always concerned about their health, and they should be. Where else can you go to bring a business that's got the kind of medical attributes and assets that this area has? And all the wonderful colleges in La Crosse and the vocational schools in every one of our counties. You know, businesses like education, they like health facilities, they like recreation, and we have it all. What we need to do, ladies and gentlemen, we need to sell. We need to sell every single day this particular area. We need to get Sharon Folsey on the road. Instead of 10 hours a day, she's got to be out there 12 hours. And every single one of those individuals out here who are working for you to sell this area, walk up and say thank you. And then what you need to do is you need to start taking an inventory of the businesses that we have in this area. And we have some great businesses. Find out what they need. Then let's go and match them up with some other businesses, some other regions, and some other states, and see what we can do to attract those businesses into our area, God's country. And that's what it's all about, ladies and gentlemen. It's not easy, but it's sort of fun. You know, it's much nicer, you know, to smile than to frown. Much nicer, you know, to reach out your hand and shake hands than giving somebody one of your fingers. It's much better, you know, to go out and brag that we have a state in this region exemplifies something very, very, very special. I love it. And every single day I get up on my farm in Elroy and look out over the beauty. I'm amazed what God has created and what we have to offer visitors, business, students, travelers, and you name it. And so, ladies and gentlemen, as my mother, Irish mother, always said, always give them the Irish prayer when you get done. So, ladies and gentlemen, may the road always rise to meet you. May the wind be always at your back. And may the sun shine warm upon your forehead. And the rains fall soft upon your fields. And until we meet again, may God hold you in the palm of his hand. God love you. God love this area. God love the state of Wisconsin. And God love the United States of America. Thank you very much. Anybody got any questions that they have to ask? Or want to ask? If not, it's been great. Keep doing it. And Sharon, thank you for inviting me.